My wife walked out on me while I was taking care of my dying father. But once he passed and left me a millionaire in his will, she came crawling back. I'm a 35-year-old guy, married for 7 years, with 2 kids. I'm also my father's only son. Dad's been struggling with kidney disease for years now. In the past couple of years, things really took a turn for the worse, and now he needs dialysis twice a week. He used to be able to get there by himself, but over the last year, he started asking me to go with him more and more. Lately, he's gotten a lot weaker, so I set up a routine. I'm the one who takes him to every dialysis session now. I just can't leave him to deal with this on his own. He goes twice a week, so I picked Saturday and Wednesday. Saturdays are easy since it's my day off. As for Wednesdays, I got permission from my boss to leave work early and then make up the hours later that night after I get back from the dialysis center. I've been with this company for 9 years. My boss knows me as someone who works hard and sticks around, so he didn't mind cutting me a little slack. The real issue was back at home, with my wife, Rachel, who's 33. When she found out I'd be taking Dad for dialysis twice a week, she got upset. Even before, when I went with him occasionally, she didn't like it, but she kept quiet. But once I committed to doing it regularly, she just couldn't keep it in anymore. She told me I was wasting my time, that no matter what I did, my father would never be proud of me. Here's some background. Dad owned a successful merchandising business and had made a good amount of money over the years. He wanted me to take it over someday, but I had other plans. I was all about tech. I loved coding, building software, stuff like that. So after high school, instead of going into business or management like he wanted, I went for a degree in software engineering. At first, he was okay with it, thinking I'd still join the family business eventually. But after I graduated, I took a job with a big tech company. That's when he got really disappointed. He wanted me to carry on his legacy, and instead, I was working for someone else. He kept asking me to join the business, and I kept putting it off. After I got married, he asked me one final time. I told him no. That set him off. He threatened to donate everything to charity and said I wouldn't see a dime of his money. But I stood my ground. I was doing well on my own by then. I bought my first house and car by 28. I felt confident I could make it without his help. I even told him straight up, I didn't need his money. I could build my own life. That's when our relationship really went downhill. 4 years ago, my mom died from a heart attack. It hit Dad hard. I'd moved out when I was 16 for college, then started working and living on my own. Mom had been his only real companion for years, and losing her wrecked him. That's when we started to rebuild things between us. I began visiting more often and bringing my kids to spend time with him. Eventually, Dad stepped away from running the business and handed it over to a trust. Rachel was never close to my parents. Back when Mom was alive, she avoided them, always saying Mom was too nosy and they didn't get along. Then, when Dad cut me out of the will, Rachel started bad-mouthing both of them, called them cold, mean, and all sorts of things. I told her to stay out of it, that my relationship with my parents was between me and them. But she always pushed back, saying it affected our future, especially our kids. I reassured her that we'd be fine without Dad's money, but she just wouldn't let it go. Fast forward to now, Rachel started making a big deal out of me taking Dad to dialysis twice a week. I tried explaining that he only has me. His parents are long gone. He does have an older brother, but the guy lives way across town and barely checks in on him. Ever since Mom passed, Dad's been incredibly lonely. I can't just walk away from him, not like this. But Rachel refuses to get it. Lately, she's been making my life hell. Every Saturday, she plans something. Either she wants to throw a party, deep clean the house, take the kids out, or even just send me to pick up groceries. I told her, plan whatever you want on Sunday, but Saturdays are booked. I have to take Dad. She doesn't care. She keeps making her plans anyway and then complains when I show up late or miss something. I'm running back and forth, picking Dad up, taking him to the dialysis center, dropping him home, and then rushing back just in time to hear her sarcasm and snide remarks. And it's not just Saturdays. She pulls the same stuff on Wednesdays too. I told my boss I'd make up for the missed hours after dialysis, but Rachel always seems to have other ideas. Almost every Wednesday evening, she goes out, either to see family, catch up with old friends, or hit up some random event, leaving me alone with the kids. I have to juggle everything, cook, feed the little one, manage bedtime, and still find time to finish my work. All this after already putting in a full day at the office and spending hours at the clinic. It's exhausting. I know I'm rambling here, but that's just how bad things have gotten. Dad even offered to go with the nurse instead, since he sees me stressed out, always checking my watch. I drop him off and barely say goodbye. I'm just rushing back. Even when I pick him up, I text him to be waiting outside before I pull in. He's got a full-time nurse and caretaker, so technically he doesn't need me there, but I still feel terrible for not spending real time with him. The drive to the clinic takes about half an hour. I used to enjoy those rides. We talk about the good old days, the kids, life. But lately, with Rachel always breathing down my neck, all I can think about is getting home as fast as possible. I'm speeding through traffic, cutting corners, taking back roads, just trying to save a few minutes. That drive is really the only one-on-one time I get with Dad. I don't want to lose that by handing it off to a nurse. I still feel a responsibility to him. He's my dad. But honestly, I'm reaching my limit. Rachel keeps trying to talk me out of helping him. She says it's a lost cause. He already cut me from the will and gave everything to charity, so why am I wasting my time? I just don't get her. Do we really measure everything in terms of profit and loss now? What about folks whose parents don't have money? Are their kids supposed to just walk away because there's nothing to gain? After months of hearing Rachel complain, I finally snapped and told her, "Your parents aren't leaving you anything either, so why do you keep visiting them so often?" That really set her off. She exploded, yelling, "My parents did way more for me than your greedy father ever did. They always supported me." She said her dad would never cut her off the way mine did just because she didn't follow in his footsteps. "Don't you dare compare your father to mine," she screamed. And this wasn't some one-time argument. It's become a regular show almost every Wednesday and Saturday when I get home from dialysis. And every time, it gets uglier. At first, she kept her fights between the two of us. But now, she yells in front of the kids. I've even caught her bad-mouthing my dad to them, twisting their thoughts, trying to turn them against both of us. The day I overheard that, I stepped in and called her out. Of course, that led to another blow-up. Lately, these fights feel like part of my routine. And on the days when she doesn't start one, it just feels like the storm's brewing for tomorrow. Honestly, I'm close to giving up on her. I don't even argue back anymore. I just let her rant and treat her like she's not even there. What am I supposed to do? Abandon my own father just to keep her happy? No chance. I don't care if Dad cut me out of his will. That was his choice, and it happened because I chose not to take over his business. He poured everything into that company, and when I said no, he had no choice but to hand it over to a trust. That must have crushed him, watching something he built from the ground up be passed off to strangers. He had every right to be angry. I heard him. And maybe this is karma coming back to me. Now he's barely hanging on, can barely walk without help. Used to be, I'd just have him meet me outside to save time, drop him off out front afterward. But lately, I don't care about being late anymore. I go inside, walk him to the car slowly, make sure he's steady, and when we get back, I walk him all the way to bed and don't leave till he's settled. He's having trouble breathing now, so I walk at his pace, take my time. Even driving, I go slow now. I don't speed, don't cut through side streets anymore. Getting home faster doesn't change anything. It just throws me back into the same misery. If I'm going to come home to that woman's bitterness anyway, then I might as well make sure Dad feels cared for in the meantime. That shift in attitude made things worse between me and Rachel. Yesterday, she said I had to choose, her or my dad. I tried reasoning with her. I told her Dad wasn't going to be around forever. Just look at him. He's fading. But all she said was, then choose wisely. Someone who'll be with you for the rest of your life, or someone who's already halfway gone. That hit hard. Cold. I looked at her and said, then I choose Dad. At least he's not heartless like you. She stormed off, packed her bags, and left. I didn't stop her. Honestly, I think we both needed the space. With her gone, I've been managing the house, the kids, my job, and looking after Dad. And you know what? I feel more at peace now than I have in months. Her absence is actually calming. Then, just a couple days ago, I got divorce papers in the mail. I can't say I didn't see it coming, I did. Just didn't think it'd be so quick. I was surprised, sure, but deep down, I felt relieved. I didn't even call her. I just signed the papers and sent them back. What really caught me off guard was that she didn't even ask for custody of the kids. That was the only part one was worried about. But she clearly didn't want them. After getting the papers, she called me up, yelling, asking how I could just sign them without begging her to stay. Can you believe that? Her mom even got on the line and shouted that I should have acted like a real man and convinced my wife to come back. That whole call was just laughable. I mean, why would I do that? She wanted out. I gave her what she asked for. I told her I was glad. I got rid of her without a fight. I even threw in a jab, told her she ditched her own kids like they meant nothing. And she basically admitted it. Said I could have everything, even the kids. She didn't want any of it. Her mom said Rachel was still young and didn't want the burden of raising children. I said, fine by me. I'm lucky to have them. Truth is, it's a relief not to share them with her. But I do worry my kids miss her, especially the younger one. When I'm at work, it's tough. It's a lot to handle on my own, but I'm doing my best. I have to believe I'll make it through. Update 2. This one's shorter. I ended up moving back into Dad's house with the kids. Honestly, it was one of the best decisions I've made, thanks to everyone who encouraged it. It worked out great. Dad got to spend time with his grandkids, and they loved being around him. He already had a full-time caregiver, and we gave her a raise so she could help with the kids too. Having someone to look after them while I'm at work and under Dad's watchful eye was a blessing. Seeing Dad laugh and play with the kids every day, it was pure joy. Rachel never saw that coming. She thought divorce would wreck my life, that I'd fall apart trying to juggle everything. But it turns out I've never been more stable. Everything fell into place perfectly. I've got the kids, the house, my work under control, and Dad by my side. Honestly, I'm the one smiling now. That divorce was the best thing that ever happened to me. No joke. Update 3. This one's sad. Dad passed away last week, in his sleep. He went to bed happy after spending the evening playing with the kids and just didn't wake up. The doctor said it was peaceful. His nurse, his doctor, even the caregiver, all said moving in with him really lifted his spirits. They believed it gave him a few extra months of life. Before we moved in, he was close to giving up. I'm heartbroken, of course, but I'm also grateful he got to spend his last days surrounded by love and laughter. The kids are really sad too. They adored him. But I'm proud of what he taught them, how to handle life, accept things as they come, and keep moving forward. Hearing my kids repeat those lessons tells me he left a mark on them. They've been my rock through all of this. But here's the twist. After Dad passed, his lawyer called me in to go over the will. I told him it wasn't necessary. Dad had made it clear he was leaving everything to the trust, and I was okay with that. I even asked if I needed to move out of Dad's house, assuming it was now under the trust too. The lawyer just laughed and said, "You need to come in." When I got there, the trust representatives were already in the room. The lawyer began reading the will, and I couldn't believe what I heard. Dad had left everything to me, his house, his business, the whole deal. Turns out, everything Dad owned was left to me. I asked the lawyer if he'd recently changed the will, maybe after I started helping him out. The lawyer just smiled and said, "You were always the heir. The will was never changed." I broke down right there. I'd spent years thinking he'd cut me off, that I wasn't good enough. Maybe all that disowning talk was just a push, his way of trying to steer me back toward the family business, toward carrying on what he built. I couldn't stop crying. I told the lawyer it killed me inside, knowing I hurt my dad all those years, and yet he never stopped caring about me. The lawyer told me something I'll never forget. He said Dad was actually proud of me. Proud that I didn't give in to pressure and instead chased after something I loved, even if it meant giving up the family fortune. He admired that I had the guts to follow my own path. Then came the shocker. The lawyer told me I was now in charge. I had full control of the business. If I wanted, I could take it back from the trust and run it myself. And I think I'm going to. I've done things my way for a long time. Dad might have been disappointed at times, but deep down, he still supported me, just in his own way. Now, it's my turn to honor him. I'm planning to take back the company and grow it into something he'd be proud of. I came home and told my kids about their grandpa's will. Dad had even set aside a share of his wealth for them when they turned 18. Today, we visited his grave with flowers. We sat there in silence, just being with him. It was peaceful. This is such an emotional time for me. Update 4. Well, wouldn't you know, it didn't take long for the vultures to circle back. Just a month after Dad passed, I started taking over the business and got involved in his charity work. First thing I did was quit my job and go all in on Dad's company. I rented out my old house too, decided to stay in Dad's place with the kids. They feel close to him here. Honestly, I do too. This house holds all my childhood memories. I couldn't walk away from it. Word got out that I'd inherited a fortune, and suddenly people were popping up out of nowhere, old friends, distant relatives, neighbors I hadn't seen in years. But the biggest surprise? Rachel showed up. With her parents. They walked in crying, saying they didn't even know Dad had passed, or they would have come to the funeral. Her folks started talking about how great my dad was, all praises. All of a sudden, Rachel hugged the kids, crying about how much she missed them. I asked her, if you missed them so much, why didn't you visit for the past 7 or 8 months? She said she went by our old house and it was locked. I called BS. I asked, when you saw the house locked, did it not cross your mind to call me? To check if your kids were okay? She didn't have a real answer. Her parents jumped in, saying we should let the past go. Now that Dad was gone, the kids would be alone when I was at work, so we should reconcile because they need a mother. I couldn't help but laugh in their faces. The kids needed her when she walked away from them, not now that they've gotten used to living without her. She started crying again. Her parents left the room to give us space. Then she grabbed my hands, begging me to take her back. She said she loved me, missed the kids, missed our life. I just looked at her and said, you don't love me. You love the money my dad left behind. I told her and her greedy parents exactly what I thought of them. No regrets. She had the nerve to call my dad greedy and cruel during our divorce. Now she wanted a piece of what he left behind? Not a chance. She got offended that I insulted her parents. Said she had been begging me out of love, but now she was done asking. She said she'd take what was rightfully hers. She never asked for alimony during the divorce, but now she wanted half of my wealth, half of Dad's wealth. I told her she could try anything she wanted. I'd fight her with everything I had before I gave her a single cent. She cursed me out and stormed off. I talked to my lawyer about the whole mess. He said she doesn't have much of a case. The divorce was finalized a year before the inheritance came through. Plus, the kids are with me, and she never even fought for custody. Still, he warned me to be careful. If I let her spend too much time with the kids, she could twist things, maybe try to get custody later and use that as leverage for money. That advice stuck with me. So now I keep a close eye when they meet. I'm also spending more time with the kids than ever. They're still hurting from losing their grandpa, and I don't want them running to their mom for comfort, especially if she's just going to manipulate them. Taking over Dad's company has given me a lot more flexibility. I finally have time to focus on myself and my family. I'm planning a trip to the Bahamas with the kids. Why not? They deserve a real vacation. And no, it's not just me splurging Dad's money. I could have afforded this before. I just never had the time with everything going on. Now that I do, I want to give them something special. As for Rachel, haven't heard from her since that last stunt. I'm pretty sure she's running around, knocking on lawyers' doors, trying to find someone who'll take her case. Good luck with that. Thanks for sticking around and listening to my story. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss more true life stories just like this one.